Hello and welcome. Today we dive into the intriguing world of property management law in Israel. This is a complex and nuanced territory, where legal expertise plays a vital role. As an owner or property manager, navigating this landscape can be quite the challenge. It's not just about buying, selling, or renting out properties. It's about understanding your legal obligations and the frameworks within which you operate. Property management law in Israel covers a wide spectrum, from the responsibilities of property owners and the rights of tenants to the intricacies of lease agreements and eviction procedures. Each of these areas is governed by its own set of regulations and guidelines, ensuring that every interaction is fair and just. By gaining a deeper understanding of these laws, you can ensure smooth operation of your property, prevent disputes, and, most importantly, protect your investment. Stay with us as we delve into the world of property ownership and management in Israel from a legal perspective. Property ownership comes with a myriad of legal responsibilities. In Israel, as with many places worldwide, property owners are bound by certain regulations to ensure the safety, well-being, and rights of their tenants. First and foremost, property maintenance is a major responsibility. This means that property owners are required to keep their premises in habitable conditions. They need to promptly address issues like leaks, electrical faults, or structural damages. In essence, the property should be a safe and comfortable place for tenants to live in. Safety extends beyond just maintaining the physical structure. It also encompasses ensuring the premises are free from health hazards. This might include managing pests, ensuring proper waste disposal, or dealing with hazardous materials. Adherence to fire safety regulations is equally crucial. This includes installing and maintaining smoke detectors, providing fire escape routes, and ensuring that all safety regulations are met. Compliance with local zoning laws is another major responsibility. These regulations dictate how a property can be used. For instance, a property zoned for residential use cannot be used for commercial activities. It's therefore crucial for property owners to understand and comply with these laws to avoid legal complications. Furthermore, property owners are also obliged to respect the rights of their tenants. This includes not infringing on their privacy, honoring the agreed-upon terms of the lease, and not engaging in discriminatory practices. In addition to these, there are also tax obligations. Property owners need to accurately report their rental income and pay any taxes due. Failure to do so can result in fines and penalties. In conclusion, legal obligations of property owners in Israel encompass a wide range of areas, from maintenance and safety to compliance with zoning laws and respect for tenant rights. Fulfilling these legal duties is not just a matter of law, but also a key to successful property management. A crucial part of property management is respecting tenant rights. This respect is not just about good landlord-tenant relationships, but it's also a matter of law. In Israel, just like anywhere else, tenants have rights that are protected under the law. So let's delve into some of the key rights and protections afforded to tenants. One of the most fundamental rights is the right to a safe and habitable living environment. This means that landlords are legally obligated to provide and maintain properties that meet certain health and safety standards. Now let's talk about rent. Rent increases are a common concern for tenants. In Israel, the law protects tenants from arbitrary or excessive rent increases. Landlords must adhere to specific guidelines and restrictions when it comes to raising the rent. The specifics can vary depending on the lease agreement and the local laws, so it's essential to be aware of these details. Another area where tenant rights come into play is regarding security deposits. A security deposit is typically required at the start of a lease. But did you know that there are laws governing how much a landlord can charge for a security deposit and how and when it must be returned? It's true, and being aware of these laws can protect tenants from unfair practices. And what about lease renewals? Well, in Israel, unless otherwise stated in the lease agreement, tenants have the right to renew their lease at the end of its term. This right ensures stability for tenants, preventing them from being unexpectedly uprooted from their homes. In summary, tenant rights in Israel cover a range of areas, including the right to a safe and habitable home, regulations on rent increases, rules about security deposits, and the right to lease renewals. Knowing and respecting these rights is not only legally required, it also fosters a healthy landlord-tenant relationship. A well-drafted lease agreement is the backbone of any property rental. A lease agreement is more than just a document stating who rents what and for how long. It's a vital legal instrument that delineates the rights, responsibilities, and expectations of both the landlord and the tenant. Creating a legally sound lease agreement is not a task to be taken lightly. It requires a keen understanding of local laws, and attention to detail, and most importantly, a commitment to fairness and transparency. Every lease agreement should, at the very least, specify the duration of the lease, the amount of rent, and the terms of payment. It should also clearly outline the conditions for security deposits, maintenance responsibilities, and lease termination. But that's just scratching the surface. A comprehensive lease agreement will also include specific clauses that protect both parties. For instance, a quiet enjoyment clause assures tenants that they can peacefully occupy the property without interference from the landlord, while a right to access clause allows the landlord to enter the property for specific reasons, such as for maintenance or inspections, provided they give reasonable notice. Then there's the dispute resolution clause, which outlines how disagreements between the landlord and tenant will be resolved. This could mean negotiation, mediation, arbitration, or even litigation, depending on the severity of the dispute. Having such a clause in place can save both parties a lot of time, stress, and money down the line. And let's not forget about the force majeure clause, which can protect both parties from unforeseen circumstances that might render the lease unfulfillable, such as natural disasters or global pandemics. In essence, a lease agreement is a roadmap for the landlord-tenant relationship. It sets the ground rules, defines the boundaries, and provides a clear path for conflict resolution. It's a tool that can prevent misunderstandings, foster trust, and ensure a smooth and successful property rental experience for all involved. Remember, a comprehensive lease agreement is your best safeguard against potential disputes. Consider it not just a legal requirement, but an essential part of your property management strategy. Eviction, while a last resort, is sometimes necessary. When it comes to property management, understanding eviction procedures is crucial. This knowledge will help to ensure that any eviction process is carried out both legally and ethically. In Israel, eviction is a legal process. It's not as simple as just telling a tenant to leave. The law requires several steps to be taken. First, there must be valid grounds for eviction. These can range from non-payment of rent to breach of lease terms to the landlord needing the property for personal use. Once valid grounds for eviction have been established, the landlord must provide the tenant with an eviction notice. This notice must be written, and it must specify the reason for the eviction. The tenant then has a period of time, typically 30 days, to either rectify the issue or vacate the property. If the tenant fails to comply with the eviction notice, the landlord can then file an eviction lawsuit. This involves submitting a claim to the rental tribunal, which will then examine the case. The landlord cannot forcibly remove the tenant without a court order. During an eviction lawsuit, both the landlord and the tenant have the right to be heard. The tribunal will consider the evidence presented by both parties before making a decision. If the tribunal rules in favor of the landlord, the tenant will be ordered to vacate the property. Finally, it's essential to remember that eviction is a serious matter. It can have significant consequences for both the landlord and the tenant. Therefore, it's always recommended to seek legal advice before initiating an eviction process. In conclusion, eviction is a multi-step process that requires careful adherence to the law. It involves establishing valid grounds for eviction, issuing an eviction notice, possibly filing an eviction lawsuit, and obtaining a court order. Throughout this process, it's crucial to respect the rights of the tenant and to act in a fair and ethical manner. Navigating eviction procedures legally and ethically is of utmost importance. It's not just about protecting your property, but also about treating your tenants with respect and dignity. Remember, knowledge is power, and understanding your legal obligations can lead to smoother property management. As we wrap up, let's revisit the main points we've covered. We've delved into the legal responsibilities of property owners in Israel, highlighting the importance of regular maintenance, safety compliance, and adherence to other key regulations. We've also shed light on the rights and protections granted to tenants under Israeli law, including the legal framework around rent increases, security deposits, and lease renewals. Our discussion on lease agreements emphasized the need for legally sound contracts, with essential clauses that safeguard both landlords and tenants. We've also navigated through the eviction procedure, outlining the legal steps involved, the grounds for eviction, and the proper legal process. Moreover, we've addressed common legal challenges in property management, and provided guidance on how to navigate disputes and legal obstacles. Real-life case studies helped illustrate these principles, showing how legal expertise can mitigate risks and ensure smooth property management. Remember, when it comes to property management in Israel, legal expertise is not just helpful, it's essential. Consider seeking professional legal advice tailored to your specific needs.